Hi, this is the first of a three-part series that will lead up to the Alexandria Review. The first section that we're doing today is called What is Money? We're going to talk about money and first ask what is it and why do we want to use it. So what I'm going to do today is make an economic model, and with the economic model we'll start with classical terms. Of course, you're doing classical terms, you're beginning with Adam Smith, beginning of the Industrial Revolution in the first half of the 1700s. This is where Adam Smith wrote a book called Wealth of Nations, which has been the classic text of economic theory pretty well ever since. In his text, he was saying that the value of money money and human labor were defined in terms of increasing the value of natural resources. And this increase of value determined the production of money. So it comes as a result of a merchant class rooted in the Dark Ages and blossoming in the Renaissance. Now, from the age of imperialism, in 1500s and on, the economic system is based on conquest and pillage. And today this forms the foundation of consumer capitalism, which is driven by an ever-increasing exploitation of non-renewable resources and, of course, cheap or free labor. An alternative view, I'm going to now bring in Daniel Defoe with a book called Robinson Crusoe. And Daniel Defoe points out that we cannot have an economic system without at least two human beings. So the world of Daniel Defoe contains two participants, whose well-being is based on human labor rather than the availability of human resources. Both parties have equal access to human resources, but the way that labor is used is different with each. So Crusoe, there are two distinct philosophies that interact in this story. So Crusoe bases his values on what he can get out of Friday for the least possible personal expense. And it's a philosophy of exploitation. So expects nothing in payment. Friday, on the other hand, who's not even given a name by Crusoe, bases his values on what he can do for others, expecting the least in return. And as a matter of fact, Friday actually expects nothing. However, Friday doesn't need anything. His skills and his capacity are more than equal to keep himself, his family, and Crusoe from want. Crusoe, on the other hand, is completely useless and ignorant in providing for himself, or let alone being able to be of any use to anyone else. This remarkable book was written in the early 1700s. When Friday leaves Crusoe for a brief time, Crusoe nearly dies because he cannot look after himself. The surrounding natural resources are equally available to both men. He still has access to all the resources, but he is completely incapable of using them. The difference in worth between the two is the difference in each of their capacities. So, in our recent history, in the past 200 years, the firm establishment of capital has occurred, and this is mostly based on exploitation and material value. So the value of money is based on some natural resource, like gold, for example, and is produced or manufactured by producing or upgrading more natural resources. And that money is in some way is backed by something or has some value in exchange for material is a common treatise in modern finance. So basically you have the idea of human labor is a guy in the middle of a field lifting up a rock. He has improved the value of the rock because he has touched it. And it's a common treatise in modern finance. Now, alternatively, completely alternative view is that money has to do with people rather than with resources. You cannot have an economic system without people, and you cannot have capitalism without labor. So, for our purposes, money is a commodity exchange for human labor. Human labor is defined as one human being being in service to another human being. Every financial transaction is a transaction between human beings in exchange for service. It is independent of the raw materials involved. So let's, building a model here, let's represent all money in the world. Okay, this is an oversimplified model that we're going. Let's say we take all the money in the world and we turn it into gold, and we have this giant gold bar that represents all the money in the world. And we'll let all human labor be represented by one person. For us, let's say the Queen of England, just for kicks, and all her subjects, or everyone in the world for the sake of argument. And on top of this, we have some economic algorithm or philosophy driving our model. So we adjust the algorithm of the motivation for this and just see what happens. So in the first run, let's say the first run we use the profit motive, we'll use the idea of greed, etc. for as driving it, and the profit motive is accumulating more gold. And this algorithm directs the market to be engaged in self-indulgence. Self-indulgence for the maximum return. So gold is given to the queen, who promotes alcohol, drugs, various addictions. The education system is directed to produce unimaginative workers who long for more and more toys to entertainment, and it is all for the survival of the most devious. So eventually, so this is really Adam Smith with self-interest and competition, or we have this idea of fair competition, or what we call reasonable greed, or greed and competition will be the mainstay. And of course, as soon as things start happening, it's no longer a level playing field or a fair market. So the results of the first run are, of course, all the gold returns the starting point back to the Queen of England because capitalism. And there's a huge reduction, however, in the capacity of labor. And we still have all the gold, that has not changed, but labor itself has changed drastically. We now have labor who's addicted, can't do anything for themselves. It's decreased so greatly that machines would have to probably take over for everyone and look after everyone, and there would be no one to fix the machines if they ever broke down. So the question we have to ask here, what is the value of the gold? And what is the value of money? Before, the money could buy people who could do stuff. Now, money can buy people who cannot do stuff. So no one even to be able to repair it. So since what money can buy is less than what it could buy before, the value of money has decreased, and the value of money is based on the capacity of labor. So we now have a second run. Grab my piece of paper back here. Money 5. So with our second run, our product, let's do the opposite of our profit motive, and we will enhance labor with reduced materials. So here we get everybody into treatment, clean everybody up. Personal capacity we will enhance and extol. We'll train labor through education to be maximally proficient. We promote personal empowerment and overall social benefit. You live well within your means in a knowledge-based economy, for example, and like Friday, we will be of service to others. So the results of the second run, is basically all the gold returns the starting point because capitalism. There's a huge increase now in the capacity of labor. So there's a massive reduction in consumption, knowledge, people that can now do things for themselves, a massive increase in community cooperation and infrastructure, and we have a knowledge-based economy based on advancing the arts and sciences. So as a result, the capacity of labor has increased. What you can buy with the same amount of gold is a great deal more than what you could buy before. Therefore, the value of gold has increased. The value of money has increased if the value of money is based on the capacity of human beings. So education becomes the main system, so forth. So what is the value of money? Money can only be gauged by human labor. There is nothing else in the system. You have the gold and you have the labor. Gold has to be worth what the labor can do. So what money can buy, including materials, is based on the capacity of labor. The first run reduces the capacity of labor and also reduces what money can buy, even to the ability of fixing machines. The second run increases the value of labor and increases what money can buy, even to invent, make, or repair machines. So there's two definitions of money. What it can buy is one definition. So money's worth what it can buy. That's based on materials. That's all based on the materials you can get in raw resources, etc. It's concerned with stuff. How hard, the second definition of money is the value of money, is how hard did you have to work to get the stuff in the first place. If you had to work really hard to get that money, it's worth a lot more, okay, than if you didn't have to work very much. That is based on labor, and it's more concerned, or it is concerned with people. And what you're buying is you're actually buying labor with the money. So one is material based, and the other is labor based. One is concerned with stuff, the other is concerned with people. And that's it. That's the weather for today. And thank you very much. And that's basically defining. You can define money in two terms. You can define it for what it can buy, or you can define it with how hard you had to work to try and get the stuff. They're two entirely different viewpoints of money. Money is based on labor, no matter where you go or how, at the end of the day, money is based on labor. So that's it. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions that hit you at this time? Tall. No, it's clear as mud, is it? Wow, that's excellent. Okay.
Thank you very much, Bruce. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.